Hello and welcome to this late afternoon, early evening taste challenge. I have two 40% alcohol gold rums. This is with no age statement and both bottled in Kentucky. All right. So they have a lot in common, but they're not from the same parent company. This is Aristocrat Gold Rum from Grosscurth Distillers Company, Bardstown, Kentucky. Product of the West Indies, but really it's just Heaven Hill. Grosscurth was bought by Heaven Hill. Okay, so I'll give you a little information on that. Let me, Burley Sullivan says, you. Hey, cheers back to you. Just update my notes so they make more sense. All right. From the West Indies or the Caribbean islands, this is Grosscurth Distilling. Now, Grosscurth Distillers was established in 1933 by a husband and wife team. Husband and wife, just like Sazerac is owned by a husband and a wife. And they put out a whole line of products, and Aristocrat was one of their lines. And they got Aristocrat rum, gin, vodka, so forth. I got this liter bottle at one of these local, I can't, what store was this? International Market, super discount store. It was $6.99. No problem there. Daryl Macias. Hey, Ronald. Hello, Daryl. This is Winn-Dixie dark distilled rum imported from the Caribbean islands, bottled in Kentucky by Wide World importers for Winn-Dixie stores. Have they been making a private label or selling a private label since 1955? They may have been. They may have been. Because I remember this when I was a little kid in the glass bottles, big glass bottles. But so Grosscurth Distillers, they end up selling it. They had a small distillery, and I think it burnt that. I think it burnt down. It was a fire or something. And the husband and wife sold the company. They used to donate a lot of money to Louisville University. They had a special. They might have gone there. I don't know. They dedicated a lot of money from the company to Louisville University, and then they raised a lot of foster children. They had no children of their own. Maybe there was some medical problem, could not have children. But so they were like philanthropists. And then they both died within a month. What was it? 3 weeks of each other in 1999, 25 years ago. They were very elderly, and the husband died, and the wife died soon after. So they had a distilling company. So, and they had no children, so they couldn't they couldn't inherit it because there was no one to inherit it. So yeah, it did sell out to Heaven Hill. But I don't know how that was arranged. I don't know how that worked out, but that's the story on that. But it still says on the bottle, Grosscurth Distillers. Maybe they do that just as a tribute to them or something. Okay, Merry Christmas, brother, says Chad Humphrey. I'm in Asheville drinking Surge seltzer. It's horrible. Usually the word seltzer will indicate that. All right. I know some people like seltzers, but no. Those sugarcane beers ain't for me. Come on, man. Now, these two products are very pale. Look how pale straw they are. They clearly have no coloring added. They're barely gold. But that's probably how it should look. He says, laughing out loud, laughing out loud. All right, so Anything else on this Aristocrat bottle? I bought this years ago. Still got half the bottle left. Gold rum, product of the West Indies. Don't know where. Doesn't say imported though. So that's making me think it's from U.S. territories such as Puerto Rico or the U.S. Virgin Islands, you see. So now this one says it's imported. So that's telling me it's not from Puerto Rico or the U.S. Virgin Islands, but it's more like from maybe Jamaica or St. Lucia, or San Bartholomew, or Martinique, or Guadeloupe, right? Or Anguilla. I'm just thinking where Montserrat. I doubt. I don't even know if they have rum production on that tiny island. St. Eustatius, same thing. It's a pretty tiny island country. St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Christopher and Nevis could be from there. I don't know what their rum production is. Saint Martin, or so forth. You know, there's a lot of islands out there, island countries. We know they have island countries. Australia, well, they say it's a continent, the world's smallest continent. It's either the world's smallest continent or the world's largest island. New Zealand has two islands, North Island and South Island. It's an island country, two islands. Right? Hawaii, an island country that was absorbed into a territory and became a state. Many islands, 8 big ones, I think. England, Great Britain, Scotland, England, Wales, 3 countries on one island country, right? So you get it. Malta, island country. St. Helena, out in the Atlantic Ocean, very remote. The Canary Islands, which is a province of Spain, not a country, part of Spain. Cape Verde Islands, the Falkland Islands, Bermuda Islands, the Bahamas, the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, more islands, more and more islands, people. It doesn't end. I mean, it does end because you could add them all up. All right. But no man is an island. All right. But there was an island girl. All right. Anyway. Oh, Canada has a province that's an island, Prince Edward Island. We have a state, Hawaii, made up of islands, and they have Prince Edward Island, which I visited 24 years ago. It was very nice. All right. Now, are these going to be tough to tell apart? I think they will be because they're very similar. I put the links below for the website. It's not worth showing this because there's not much to see, honestly. You can look at that if you feel like it, but it'd be a waste to show it. All right. Aroma, and President-elect Trump, he's bringing that subject up again. He wants to buy Greenland. I don't know why. I don't think there's much there, but he's got this fixation on buying Greenland and making it a territory of the United States, which would be the second territory the U.S. purchased from Denmark, which the first was the Danish Virgin Islands. Yeah, I don't know. It's just different way of looking at things. That's out in the Atlantic Ocean, North Atlantic, in the Arctic Circle, mostly. I think all of it, maybe mostly all of it. Have to look at a map. Yeah, it smells like oak. This smells like sugarcane and oak, like light molasses and oak barrels, which makes sense. All right, that's probably where it's minimally aged in an oak barrel, maybe charred. Maybe a used Heaven Hill bourbon barrel, since Heaven Hill owns Grosscurth Distilling, which is really just a name now. So yeah, it would make perfect sense. Yeah, less aroma, less less wood, less sugar cane. Very bland on the nose. It must be the WD Liquors rum, Winn-Dixie Liquors rum, because it has very little aroma. And when you try it, it doesn't have much flavor. Oh well, it was only 12. It's selling. Well, I paid more, but it's selling $12.99 for this huge bottle right now until January 7th. $12.99. I like I said, I did pay a little bit more. I think I paid $1 more, and I remember the price for this. It was $6.90 a liter. I do remember that. All right, taste. Cheers. Okay, sweet sugar, a little yeastiness, like fermented something, and they use yeast to ferment the sugar cane, molasses. It's got that. That shouldn't be present, I don't think, but it's there. And then a little oak, light bodied, light to medium body, dry finish, mostly dry finish. Is it worth buying? Yes, I think it's worth buying. Not worth tracking down, not worth going on a hunt for it, which I didn't do. I just stumbled across it. I saw it at a store, so I bought it. I wasn't looking for it. Jamie Torres, Jaime Torres says, Happy early Christmas. You too. Y'all take care. To you both, Jay and David, it's 70 degrees Fahrenheit in Las Cruces, New Mexico today. It's 60 here, 61 here, but it's getting dark. Let me shut this curtain. I mean, it's dark outside now. So I've been to Las Cruces once. I went there 18 years ago, and I visited the university, New Mexico State University campus. New Mexico State University. I went to the football stadium, and they took me on a tour, actually. This assistant athletic director lady, young lady, she's probably middle-aged now, obviously. She said, would you like me to take you on a tour of the stadium? And I said, of course, sure. So she said, the head coach is not here yet, but I did talk to him later. He used to be the head coach of Kentucky, University of Kentucky. Then he went to Southeastern Louisiana University, and then he went to New Mexico State and some other schools. But he was very friendly. He drove up. When I was getting ready to get in my car in the parking lot, he drove up, and I talked to him for a couple of minutes. But the girl took me on the tour. I think her name was Hope. But she took me on the tour, and it was a nice stadium. It was out in the desert. Like, they have trouble recruiting there because it's way out in the desert, and I guess students don't want to go there. It's about 40 miles from El Paso. So El Paso, University of Texas at El Paso, and New Mexico State, they're like big rivals because they're close to each other. Right up or down Interstate 10, depending on your direction. And I'm right off Interstate 10, so we all have something in common. All right. And I stayed on that highway until I got to Tucson, Arizona, and then to Phoenix, actually. This one's sweet. Now, is it super sweet? Put my hand up to make it focus. No. It's not super sweet. It's reasonably sweet. Reasonably. But it's not like a sugar bomb. No, it isn't like that. But you could tell it's made from sugar. A lot of bourbons taste like sugar water because they you say, well, that's made from corn. Boo. I know, but you ever eat corn on the cob? You know, corn is loaded with sugar. That's why they call it sweet corn. Most of the corn you get, the yellow corn, is sugary sweet. Perfect for making liquor because it converts into alcohol with yeast. So that's not a crazy thing to say. And obviously sugarcane is loaded with sugar. Okay, this one's pretty sweet too on the flavor though. So sweet, sweet. Sugary, yeah, pretty much. Yeah, pretty much. Overly sugared? No, no. Oak. Light charred oak, maybe charred oak. Light, maybe charred oak. Probably used bourbon barrels. Both of the parent companies got own bourbon distilleries, so that would make sense. Light to medium body, dry finish, mostly dry finish, not totally. Are they comparable? Yes. Should you pay extra one over the other? No. If you had two but you could only afford one, which one should you buy? The one that was cheaper. If it was a penny per ounce, unit pricing, of course, buy the cheaper one because you ain't going to lose anything. You're not gaining anything or losing anything. It's a draw. Trying to think. Any off flavors or aromas? No, no. Any nastiness with these two? No, there isn't any nastiness. Are they kind of bland, ho hum, dull, kind of drab, ordinary type of thing? Oh yes, that's why that's $6.99 and that was $12.99. They're not going to be that price and then be magnificent. You're not going to drink them and be like, oh, it's amazing. I can't believe this rum. I got to tell all my family and friends. That's not going to happen. That's not the case. But that's fine with me because when you see these low price points, you're thinking, oh, that's going to be ghastly. It's just going to be terrible. And people are all dramatic. I watch these videos on YouTube and they're all dramatic about, oh, I bought this inexpensive whiskey, and they're all like pretending like they're going to gag, or they're gagging and they're going to throw up. And I'm watching that and I'm thinking, this is all staged. I don't know if they talked about it before they did the video, but it's all put on because I've tried those products that they're doing all the antics with. And I say to myself, okay, I agree. It's bland and it's drab and it was $5.89 for a full-size bottle. I get that. But don't get on there talking like you're trying to get views, like you think it's going to make people watch your video or something. And their thumbnail is both of them going like, and I'm thinking, man, I've had that product. And I've had it a lot just through video challenges, blind taste tests. And I'm thinking it's nowhere near what they're claiming it is. It's nothing to look for. It's nothing to try to track down. For instance, just kind of like I said earlier, ordinary. But don't get on there talking about it like it's like poison or some terrible thing, because it is not. And I think that hurts their credibility because you're making something that's just drab out to be just like a nightmare. And come on, man. These are not a nightmare either. They're kind of ho hum. Would I recommend them? I would recommend them in the sense that you might be looking for a value price or budget brand. And you say, look, I don't really have a lot of money. Okay. I'm a senior in college, 22 years old. I don't really have a lot of money. I would like to buy some serviceable rum because I like to make rum cocktails, but I don't want anything that's nasty. It's like to be a turnoff. Well, but these would be perfect for that because there is nothing nasty about it. And they would be fine for making simplistic, basic rum cocktails. Perfect. When my daughter was in college, she used to like to make gin cocktails. Well, she still does that now here 10 years later. But she liked to make rum cocktails. But she had no kind of money. And I wasn't going to finance it. So and neither was anybody else. So she said, well, what we buy Nims. We buy Nims. I said, Nims? She said, yeah, it's not that good, but it's all right. It works for us for what we're trying to do. Basically make inexpensive gin cocktails for very low money. And in her mind, she looks back on that with kind of like a whimsical, like kind of a good old days type of thing. Not that they drank it and thought it was great, but it was just like, yeah, it works. And that's what they would buy. They would buy Nims. I don't know where that name came from. Probably has something to do with somebody's family name. It's under the Buffalo Trace Sazerac umbrella today. But she thought, yeah, it's all right. I mean, they stuff for years. They bought that stuff for years. Now, when she got more money out of college and she had a better job, of course, she would buy better stuff. But this is what she would buy. Oh, there it is. Wide World Importers, Frankfort, Kentucky. But it's really Buffalo Trace. And that's what it says right below. We're from our customer, Sazerac.com. I could find this in any store in Louisiana, any liquor store. London Dry Gin, extra dry. I think it's been around since the 1930s. But in her mind, it was all right. That's what they would buy, and that big jug bottle would last months, And Friday night, Saturday night, they make gin cocktails with this stuff. Now, compared to Seagram's, when she had more money later on, or Seagram's Distillers Reserve, it was a joke. It was a joke. On its own, it's all right. This drink is of the highest quality. Yeah. Carefully selected for its distinctive flavor profile. Really? This drink is distilled for a smooth, bold taste. Enjoy it neat on the rocks as a shot or in a cocktail. Well, they drink it in cocktails. I've had it. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't bad. Like I said, nothing to track down. Of course, in Louisiana, you don't have to track it down because it's in every liquor store. Aristocrat. Let's see if they have Aristocrat. Nah. Total Wine doesn't carry it. Like I said, I know what the Winn-Dixie is because I just looked it up. 29 was till January 7. Aristocrat. I don't know what CPD wine and liquor is. What? Where is this? Where is this located? $37.99. These people mad? I paid $6.99. What are they talking about? Where is this located? Lakeland, Florida. Florida? And they're trying to sell a liter of this for $37.99. Oh, they've lost it. They've gone out of their heads. Virginia. Virginia has a government-controlled liquor system, government-owned liquor system. It's just crazy. Yeah, okay, $14.49. That's a little bit more in line. And that's for a handle. A handle, not a great mixer for your favorite rum cocktails. Yeah, probably would be all right for that. And that's all they sell is handle. They're showing a liter. It's funny. They're showing a glass liter bottle, but they're saying it's a handle. Yeah, okay. All right, so you get the picture. Last comments. Cheers, bro. Merry Christmas, says Maddie. Cheers to you. Merry Christmas to you. Take care, everybody. Now, notice I have not determined which is which yet. I'm just talking, blah, 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 talking about the products. Well, let's see if I can tell them apart. Actually, it doesn't matter if I tell them apart because they're practically the same thing, but from two different companies. But either way, flip a coin, you get the same thing. All right. Yeah, I think it's got a little bit more character, but little bit meaning like 2 out of 100. Like, one's 88, one's 90, whatever numbers we're talking about. So more like 82 and 84. But I think this is the Aristocrat. It's got a little bit more betterness to it, but I really probably wouldn't pay extra for it. But I got it right. I got it. I got it. I got the $50. So I win and it wins, but it doesn't win by much. So there you go. I swear you look more and more like the dude from Spider-Man who owns a Daily Bugle every day. Talking about Jameson? But he has a crew cut, doesn't he? Like his hair is like a flat top. But he got the mustache, right? He was like a real mean boss. Like he was like giving him a hard time and all. Yeah, his last name was Jameson. Yeah. Okay. Well, I look like a newspaper editor. Yeah, that guy. Yep. I remember that. I never really read Spider-Man too much because it didn't really interest me. But I remember Jameson was like always giving him a hard time. And then Peter Parker was like, "Oh, brother, he's always giving me a hard time. He drives me nuts." I remember they had the Amazing Spider-Man. And Spider-Man was so popular. What was it, 1978? It might have been 77, but I think it was 78 when they came out with Peter Parker, the Spectacular Spider-Man. There was a second comic book that came out. It's called Peter Parker, the Spectacular Spider-Man. So then they had two books. It was the Amazing Spider-Man, and then they had the Spectacular Peter Parker. Everybody called it Peter Parker, the Spectacular Spider-Man. And then they ran concurrently, so they had to coordinate how they were going to run the stories. You know what I mean? Like they had to figure out to make sure it made sense. Like they had to coordinate all the events. And then they had the Marvel Team Up, which became a Spider-Man Team Up book eventually. Didn't start that way, but it became Marvel Team Up. And it was always Spider-Man. Not always, but pretty much always. Because I know there was one She-Hulk and one Hulk. But it was almost always Spider-Man. So it was Marvel Team Up, Spider-Man, and whoever they wanted to bring in, Machine Man. I don't know if he ever teamed up with Machine Man, but Ms. Marvel or whatever they want to bring in. So then they had three books running every month: the Amazing Spider-Man, the Spectacular Peter Parker, the Spectacular Spider-Man. That was John Romita Jr., right, doing the artwork. John Romita Sr., right? Then Senior, and then Marvel Team Up. So that was like a lot, and I never bought any of those books because I was like, I don't care what he does. But I knew other people, they were dedicated to it. They just were so dedicated to it. It was like a soap opera, people, I got to watch General Hospital, see what's happening. I got to watch their story, I got to watch my story. Well, people with comic books, they had to read their story, All right. I got into the movies with Tobey Maguire. Oh, yeah. I went to see that. It was all right. I don't really like movies. Yeah, those are the classics. I stopped watching superhero movies a while ago, says Urjo. They feel like they're made by AI nowadays. Yeah, they kept getting worse. They were like worse and worse every time, right? But I used to go to every superhero movie, I would never miss, like Superman the movie was the first one. And Superman 2. And well, all of them, Batman 1989. And then they started getting kind of like, I couldn't stand to go. Like, I couldn't stand to go to the movie. I would sit in the movie and I'd be like, man, this is like torment. And it was kind of like around the time of that Spider-Man movie. I was like, this is torment, And then Superman in 2003, remember that? and people were saying, "Oh, that movie was bad. That movie was terrible. Why his uniform is all dark looking?" And I was telling him, well, if you read the comic books, he's been in space for like a year or two, and something happened where his uniform got burnt in space, and that's why. But they never explained it to the movie audience. It was like, well, they were trying to make it like concurrent with the comic book, and he had been in space, and the uniform got burnt. That's why it was like dark looking. And I was telling, if y'all read the book, if y'all read the comic series, which I kept reading until 2021, but then nobody did that. Probably 99% of the viewers never read a single Superman comic book, so they weren't going to read that and find out why. And if you watched that movie, he was like telling them he had been gone. If you remember that, he was like, I was gone for a while because something happened. And but then the people watching the film were like, what is this all about? What happened? And so it's kind of like the movie 2001: A Space Odyssey from 1968. If you watch the movie, it doesn't make any sense. It's like, what's going on here? It doesn't make any sense. But the theory was you were supposed to buy the paperback by Arthur C. Clarke and read it. So you read the paperback, and then the movie makes sense because the paperback explains why things are happening in the movie. But the problem was 99% of the people who watched the movie weren't going to read the paperback, so the movie just seemed like a bunch of scenes thrown together that didn't make any sense. But if you read the paperback, which I did read, it was like, oh, okay. They were intentionally trying to get him to go into the monolith. That was the whole part of the plan. They wanted him to, that was the whole thing that they arranged. The aliens arranged that for him to go into the monolith so he could be hyper evolved into a star baby. But anyway, Maddie says, laughing out loud, crying. JV's Hangout says, have you seen the Christopher Reeve documentary yet? I haven't, but I heard it was good. I don't really watch any of those kind of things. I do watch documentaries, though. I was watching a documentary about the Shah Mohammad Reza Pahlavi. I would say that the Aristocrat is more sweet, or correctly, sweeter. It's more on the sugar side. And I would say that the Winn-Dixie is more oaky. No, wood. Well, oak. That's wood. Yeah, that makes sense. Get it together, man. Oak wood. Yeah, oak wood. It's more woody. So if you prefer the oakiness, get the Winn-Dixie. If you prefer the sugariness, get the Aristocrat. But if you prefer really developed flavor, really like well-honed flavor, don't get either one of these because they're so basic. But I don't have a problem. I'm not taking issue with them. It's not bothering me because I didn't pay a lot. I wasn't expecting a lot. I was just hoping they wouldn't be nasty. And they're definitely nowhere near nasty. So, and that's why I showed that whole thing with Mims. My daughter is not going to ever tell you, oh, Mims, that's an awesome gin. Not the point. She would just say it worked for when we didn't have any money. And it wasn't bad. It wasn't nasty. It just was basic. All right. We'll see y'all later. You'll go with the gold. Well, they're both gold, so I guess you go with either one. But be back tomorrow. And now tomorrow's going to be terrible because it's going to be all the Bacardi rums that I have. And I have a good number of them. Can you imagine how bad that's going to be? Bacardi versus Winn-Dixie. There's no chance on earth that Winn-Dixie could beat Bacardi. But I'm going to do it anyway. I'm going to do it. It's going to be a fiasco. It's going to be video after video of a tragedy. Even the Bee Gees couldn't. All right. Merry Christmas, Jay, says Maddie. Merry Christmas to you. Y'all take care. God bless everybody. Guess I'll go to Mass Christmas morning. I was going to go. Well, I was going to go to Mass at a different church, but my schedule got altered by someone's request. But I'll go. Yeah. All right. So y'all take care now. Bye bye.